Good afternoon, students. In this presentation, I will discuss in detail the various insulin preparations and the important insulin regimens. Role of insulin in the pharmacotherapy of diabetes mellitus. Insulin is mandatory in type 1 diabetes. That is why we call it as insulin dependent diabetes. 50% of all type 2 diabetics invariably require insulin, and insulin is again mandatory in gestational diabetes mellitus. Using insulin in diabetic patients prevents nephropathy, neuropathy, retinopathy, that is the microvascular complications, and insulin definitely reduces the progression of these complications if they are already present in the patient. The clinical evidence that the glucose lowering effect of insulin prevents the microvascular complications or retards the progression of these complications if already present is given by evidence-based medicine. Two large multicentric trials are evidence for this. DCCT was a trial which was conducted in type 1 diabetics, the diabetes complications and control trial. UKPDS was a trial conducted in type 2 diabetics, the United Kingdom prospective diabetes study. In both these multicentric trials, intensive insulin therapy reduced the incidence of microvascular complications and also prevented the progression of the same. Insulin is synthesized from pre-proinsulin, which is converted to proinsulin, and the removal of the C-peptide gives rise to the formation of insulin, which has two chains, the A chain, which contains 21 amino acids, and the B chain, which contains 30 amino acids. These two chains are linked by disulfide bonds. This is the amino acid sequence of human insulin. The A chain, which contains 21 amino acids, the B chain, which contains 30 amino acids. To the left is the hexamer, where 6 insulin molecules are bound by a zinc ion. To the right is the insulin monomer, which is the active form of insulin. That means it is the monomer which binds to the insulin receptor and produces the pharmacological actions. Now let us have a recap of the insulin preparations. Rapidly acting insulin preparations are the insulin analogs, insulin lispro, aspart and glulicin. They have an onset of action 12 to 18 minutes. They peak after 1 to 1.5 hours. They act for 3 to 5 hours. Short-acting insulin is plain or regular or soluble insulin, which starts acting 30 to 60 minutes after injection. It peaks after 2 to 3 hours. It acts for 6 to 8 hours. Intermediate acting insulins, neutral protamine hagadone or isophane insulin, insulin zinc suspension or lente insulin. These two preparations have an onset of action 1 to 2 hours. They peak at 8 to 10 hours. They act for 12 to 20 hours. Long-acting preparations, glargine, detamir and insulin degludec. Glargine and detamir, they take 2 to 4 hours to start their action. They are peakless insulins, they act for 24 hours. Degludec is an ultra long acting insulin preparation which acts for approximately 40 hours. It is also a peakless insulin. Now, the basic role of insulin preparations could either be the preparation provides the basal control or a background action, or it could be the preparation is used to control mealtime glycemia. Let us see how. So those preparations which provide basal control are those preparations which provide a background insulin action. That means they attain a very low constant basal levels of insulin. It is obvious that they attain low levels in the plasma. Hence, they are not suited for mealtime glycemia, but they reduce fasting and interdigestive blood glucose levels. They reduce hepatic output of glucose and they inhibit lipolysis and proteolysis. So the intermediate acting and long acting preparations, they provide basal control because they obtain very low levels in the plasma. These are Isofen, Lente, Glargine, Detamir and Degludec. Now, the preparations which control mealtime glycemia, obviously they attain higher levels in the plasma. They reduce the mealtime glycemia. They are short acting. They are not suitable for basal action. And the preparations which are used for this purpose are regular insulin, Lispro, Aspart and Glulicin. Now let us look into these preparations in detail. We'll start off with short-acting insulin. It is also called plain, regular or soluble insulin. Regular insulin is a buffered neutral pH unmodified insulin stabilized by a small amount of zinc. At the concentration of the injectable solution, the insulin molecules self-aggregate to form hexamers. On injection, the monomers are released gradually from the hexamers. That is why the onset of action takes 30 to 60 minutes. It peaks after 2 to 3 hours and has a duration of 6 to 8 hours. If we inject plain insulin just before a meal, then there is a mismatch between the required amounts and the available insulin because this preparation takes almost 30 to 60 minutes to start its action. Hence, if this preparation is injected just before a meal, it can result in early postprandial hyperglycemia, and since the duration of action is 6 to 8 hours, there can be late postprandial hypoglycemia. So because this preparation has to be injected 60 minutes before a meal, it is highly inconvenient for the patient, and this preparation controls only mealtime glycemia. It does not control the fasting or interdigestive glucose levels. Plain insulin is indicated in the diabetic emergencies, that is ketoacidotic coma in type 1 diabetes and hyperosmolar coma in type 2 diabetes, because this is the only insulin which can be given intravenously. And please note, when this preparation is given intravenously, it provides a rapid onset of action because on intravenous injection, the hexamers quickly dissociate into monomers. Now, how should I increase the duration of action of this regular insulin? Because it acts only for 6 to 8 hours. And when we treat patients of diabetes mellitus, My aim is to provide euglycemia for 24 hours. That I can do so by prolonging the action of the insulin solution. So what I should do is I should render the insulin solution insoluble so that it acts for a longer period of time. So there are two ways of doing it. One is you can complex the insulin molecules by adding a low molecular basic protein called protamine, or you can precipitate the insulin solution with excessive zinc ions to increase the molecular size and hence render the solution insoluble. So the result of modifying the insulin solution is one intermediate acting insulin. I can call it isophane or NPH, neutral protamine hagedon. So this is obtained by adding protamine and rendering the solution insoluble. Now you can see there neutral protamine hagedon, neutral because the pH is neutral. Protamine, since I add protamine. Hagedon because the name of the scientist who created this preparation was Hagedon. So I add protamine in a quantity just sufficient to complex all the insulin molecules. Neither protamine nor insulin is present in the free form. On injection, this complex dissociates very slowly, giving rise to intermediate duration of action. Most of the times, isophane insulin is combined with regular insulin in a proportion of 70:30 or 50:50. 70:30 means 70% of isophane insulin, 30% of regular insulin, or 50% of isophane insulin, 50% of regular insulin. So this mixture of isophane and regular insulin is injected twice in a day, once before breakfast and once before dinner, and this regimen is called split mixed regimen. Split because it is split into two, mixed because it is a mixture of isophane and regular insulin. So this is the scientist who created NPH or isophane insulin. Hence we have that word Hagedon. The other intermediate acting insulin is lente insulin. The previous preparation we added protamine. This preparation we add excessive zinc to increase the size of the molecules. So insulin zinc suspensions are of two types. One is a crystalline suspension which is made up of large particles. It is practically insoluble in water. It is long acting and we call it as ultra lente. The other is amorphous, containing smaller particles. It is short acting and called semi lente. When I mix ultra lente and semi lente in a proportion of 7:3, what I get is lente insulin, which is intermediate acting. So intermediate acting preparations of insulin, they have an onset of action 1 to 2 hours. They peak after 8 to 10 hours. Their duration of action is 12 to 20 hours. Insulin analogs are prepared by recombinant DNA technology. They have all the advantages of human insulin and they can be rapidly acting, Lispro, Aspart, Glulicin, long acting analogs, Glargine, Detamir, and one more I missed there, insulin Degludec. So I obtain these insulin analogs by altering the positions of the amino acids, by replacing the amino acids, or by interchanging the amino acids in the two chains, A chain and B chain. Let us see how. Insulin Lispro, rapidly acting insulin analog. So I get insulin Lispro by interchanging the two amino acids at B28 and B29. Prolin and lysine are interchanged. Prolis becomes Lispro. I get insulin Lispro. The consequence of interchanging these two amino acids is the production of very weak hexamers which quickly dissociate into monomers. Hence, this preparation has a rapid onset of action, 0.2 to 0.3 hours, 12 to 18 minutes. This preparation has a quick and a more defined peak of action at 1 to 1.5 hours, and it has a shorter duration of action, 3 to 5 hours. So because of the rapid action, I can give insulin Lispro 0 to 20 minutes before a meal. Just before a meal also I can give this preparation. So the benefit of rapid action is better control of the mealtime glycemia or postprandial hyperglycemia. And because of a shorter duration of action, there is no late postprandial hypoglycemia. Remember, I can give this preparation to my patient after my patient has his meal also, because depending upon the amount of carbohydrate intake, I can alter the dosage of insulin Lispro. If the patient happens to eat a very heavy meal, I can slightly increase the dose. If the patient happens to have less amount of food than usual, I can reduce the dose of insulin Lispro. And the better control of glycosylated hemoglobin is seen with Lispro on comparison with plain insulin. Insulin aspart, another rapidly acting insulin analog. If I replace prolin at position B28 with aspartic acid, I get insulin aspart. The consequence of this replacement is getting molecules which have a reduced tendency to self-aggregate. That means they quickly degrade into monomers. So the properties, advantages and pharmacokinetics is similar to that of insulin Lispro. And insulin aspart mimics the physiological insulin release pattern after a meal. The third rapidly acting insulin preparation, which is also an insulin analog, insulin glulicin. If I replace lysine at B29 with glutamic acid and I replace asparagine at B23 with lysine, what I get is insulin glulicin. The same pharmacokinetics which applied to Lispro and aspart applies to glulicin also, and insulin glulicin has been used as a continuous subcutaneous insulin infusion by a pump. Now let us have a look at the long acting insulin preparations. The first preparation, insulin glargine, which is also an insulin analog. Insulin glargine is obtained by adding arginine residues at the carboxy terminus of the P chain, and at position A21 asparagine is replaced by glycine. If these substitutions are done, what I get is insulin glargine. So this preparation, insulin glargine, it remains soluble at pH 4 of the formulation, but when I inject this preparation, it encounters the neutral pH in the human body, the result of which is it precipitates. On precipitation, insulin glargine forms a depot from which monomeric insulin is released slowly, because of which the onset of action is delayed, but low levels are maintained for the whole day, that is for 24 hours. This results in a smooth peakless effect, and this preparation can be given once a day. It helps in background insulin action. It takes care of the fasting and interdigestive blood glucose levels. Since glargine has a peakless effect, the incidence of hypoglycemia, especially nocturnal hypoglycemia, is very less in contrast to isofin insulin, which has a higher incidence of producing hypoglycemia, and nocturnal hypoglycemia is very dangerous. However, insulin glargine does not control mealtime glycemia because it obtains very low levels in the plasma. And since glargine has an acidic pH, I can't mix it with any other preparation. It has to be injected separately. Insulin analog, insulin detemir, another long-acting insulin preparation. Insulin detemir is obtained by adding a fatty acid radical called myristoyl to the amino group of lysine, which is present at B29. So on injecting detemir, these molecules bind to the plasma albumin, from where the molecules are released slowly, hence a long duration of action, and the onset of action takes time, and the properties and advantages are the same as that of glargine, although I have to inject insulin detemir twice a day. Insulin degludec, another insulin analog. It is an ultra long acting insulin preparation. It acts for approximately 40 hours. It produces a consistent lowering of the plasma glucose. In spite of acting for 40 hours, this preparation has to be given every day. Now this is different from the other preparations. This is called biphasic isofin. That means it's a mixture of two preparations. Now what are these two preparations present in biphasic isofin? So one is the short acting regular insulin, the other is intermediate acting isofin insulin. When I mix these two, it becomes biphasic isofin. That means the regular insulin takes care of the mealtime glycemia, the intermediate acting insulin takes care of the basal requirements of insulin, that is, it acts on the interdigestive glucose levels. So I can use this mixture for what are called as split mixed regimens, which are injected once before breakfast and once before dinner. Similarly, we have biphasic insulin aspart. So this is a mixture of the isofane complex of aspart with uncomplexed insulin aspart. This mixture provides a well-defined and a rapid peak of action as well as intermediate duration of action. The rapid peak is because of uncomplexed aspart. The intermediate duration is because of the isofane complex of aspart. Similar to the previous mixture, this is also used for split mixed regimens. Now I would like to explain you two important regimens which are commonly used in patients. One is the basal bolus regimen, the other is what I have been telling you till now, split mixed regimens. Any insulin regimen should consist of an insulin preparation which provides basal control and an insulin preparation which regulates mealtime glycemia. So figure A is the basal bolus regimen, which provides intensive insulin therapy. So in figure A, you can see three red peaks. That is the rapidly acting insulin preparations given before each meal of the day. That means one before breakfast, one before lunch, and one before dinner. Now there is a green plateau also. That is the long acting insulin preparation, which is going to take care of the basal requirements of insulin. That means the red peaks, they take care of the mealtime glycemia. The green plateau takes care of the fasting or the interdigestive blood glucose levels. So this is called as the basal bolus regimen, where you have to give 4 injections. That is a rapidly acting preparation just before each meal of the day, and the long acting insulin preparation, which is usually given just before bedtime. Now the figure B, it shows what is called as the split mixed regimen. That means I give a mixture of insulin preparations, one before breakfast and one before dinner. So this mixture consists of an intermediate acting insulin preparation. Usually it is isofen. The other mixture is either short acting insulin or rapidly acting insulin. So I calculate the daily dose and I give one injection before breakfast and one injection before dinner. So the intermediate acting preparation provides basal requirements of insulin. It takes care of the fasting levels of glucose, and the rapidly acting or the short acting insulin, it takes care of mealtime glycemia. The only disadvantage is there is no insulin preparation to take care of the mealtime glycemia associated with lunch. So this is the disadvantage of split mixed regimen. So I may not get a 24-hour euglycemia with split mixed regimen, but the advantage here is only 2 injections are required, whereas with basal bolus regimen with 4 injections I can get better euglycemia 24 hours. Thank you very much. So this presentation we studied the details of all the insulin preparations. We also studied the important regimens which are used for the treatment of diabetics. So happy reading. Thank you very much.